What adult thing seemed super scary as a kid that you found out wasn't bad when you grew up? Cooking. My parents aren't good cooks, so I was terrified of giving myself food poisoning or burning the house down. Turns out, if you follow a recipe, it's easy enough. Not living at home with my family. Make my own food. When I was little, I thought I was too stupid to make food, or remember to eat, so I would just die. But there is this thing called hunger that reminds me to eat, so I'm still alive. Smiley face. Sex never sounded like fun as a kid. I mean, the biology of it sounds kind of horrifying. One person sticks a part of them into a part of you and moves it around. I remember as a child wondering who thought that up and how can that be enjoyable? Though my parents did discuss sex with me, as far as informing me of the basics, it was always considered a serious topic. It was something married people did, like taxes and going to work. I spent a long time being very afraid of it and actually kinda hoped I died before I had to face doing it. Yeah, it wasn't so bad and got way better with age and maturity. Literally everything, because I am a child of helicopter parents. Did you know that shopping is not scary and dangerous at all? I know now. I thought fires were way more common. I was scared that every day an electrical outlet might spark, gas might ignite, or anything else that was going to make me stop, drop and roll. Drinking. Apparently you can do it in moderation. Authority figures. No matter how scary / well put together / intimidating some people seem, they're just that, people. Probably just as insecure and flawed as the rest of us, some people are just good at donning the mask. Not to say some people don't deserve to be in a position of authority, but that doesn't make them better than others, either. I was always afraid of getting alcohol poisoning. Never pieced it together that I actually needed to drink. Not necessarily an adult thing, but drugs. In school they made it sound like everywhere you went there would be someone pressuring you to do drugs. Thanks, DARE. I have long since learned that is not the case. Driving. The basement. I thought the Bermuda Triangle would have a much bigger impact on my life. I thought quicksand was gonna be a way bigger issue. Buying a car. As long as you are conscious of how much you can afford as a monthly payment, how much you can put down, if you choose to, and how much the insurance will cost, it's not too big of a headache. It just always seemed so overwhelming, but now that I'm in the process of buying my first car from a dealership, I've been surprised with how easy it is. Sleeping alone, LOL. There was a point where I was really afraid of the dark. I just wanted night to be over as fast as possible. Now it's the other way around. Paying bills and taxes. I mean, I don't love doing it, it's all a real pain and you have to set up and stay within a budget. But it seemed adults were always telling me I should love being a kid because at least I don't need to pay bill and taxes. The refrain seemed to be, sure, as a kid you have almost no power over your own life as it's run by adults who are constantly willfully misleading you to manipulate you for their own ends. You have to go through the social gladiator sports of school. All while school alone is so exhausting and onerous you would do anything to get away from it. Sure, all that, but at least you don't need to worry about bills and taxes. It really seemed like it must be so awful. For me it was having responsibilities, but it's getting scary again. None of it. Adulthood is terrifying. Sleeping with the lights off. Turns out monsters can't see in the dark very well and leave you alone. Math with letters in it. Quicksand. Every TV show in the late 70s had a quicksand scene. Chips, T.J. Hooker, Dukes of Hazzard, etc. Never in my life have I seen quicksand. Drug dealers. They're usually just normal people with a little extra to go around. Not the back alley hooded mugger that TV portrays. They exist. But you shouldn't be buying drugs from them, LMAO. Having kids. I got pregnant at 21, not a child but you know, way too young, destroy your life, no future, it's so difficult, blah blah blah. Taking care of my babies is easy. It's everything else that's difficult. Balancing a checkbook. It's not scary because I don't have to do it. The dentist. I'm 25 and just started going again after like 10 years. Still haven't gone to the doctor though. If I die, but I want to have a great smile. Talking to other grown-ups. You kind of just get good at it. Dentist, I like going to dentists now. Driving. The concept of controlling a 2-ton metal vehicle while simultaneously avoiding other 2-ton metal contraptions seemed daunting. Sex. Getting socks for Christmas. Needles. Not as bad as young me once thought. I used to vehemently hate naps as a kid because I didn't like the darkness of when you shut your eyes. Nyctophobia is a hell of a thing, but now as an adult it's pretty much all I want to do now, LMAO. Driving. Traveling. Being drunk seemed a little scary. Eating my vegetables. Spankings. Parents. But for some reason, still super scary. Going up the stairs late at night. Meeting people from the internet in person. Cooking with gas, though electricity is safer. Going outside at night. Swimming in open water. Quicksand. I don't know why I seem to think it would be something to watch out for, but I have never encountered it and most likely never will, LOL. What would happen to my stuffed animals? I don't even know where they are now, but at the time, it was life-threatening. Orgies. Then I turned 10 and was like, met. My school sent out a letter saying a similar message. Let your kids be themselves. Don't crucify them if they get bad grades once or twice. If your kid cared about school, then they'll learn themselves and adjust for the better. I thought you needed a license to cook. Sex, being naked, touching, interacting and kissing someone else, in the name of pleasure and / or making babies. Changing a broken light bulb with a potato. Almost everything switched. I was afraid of spiders, dying, onions, my mom's moods, you name it. I was not afraid of people though. I always liked being around people and couldn't stand being alone. Now I don't care at all about spiders, I love me some onions. Death is something I'll probably be ready for and I understand my mom's moods now. But people, they can be straight up fuckers. No thanks man, I'll keep to myself for the most part. Buying a kettle or a microwave or any electronic device. My parents used to talk to the staff at PC Worlds for ages that I thought you had to do some sort of pagan ritual, but then I had to go to Tesco's with my mum to buy a kettle and it's easy as fuck. Calculus. Nothing. All adulting is just as bad as I thought it would be, if not worse. Setting your own doctor appointments. I don't know why that was one of the scariest things to me as a teen. Sex. Quicksand. Based on how often I saw it on TV, I thought this stuff was everywhere and near impossible to get free from without help from others nearby on dry land. Turns out I've never even seen quicksand, and my Google search reveals it's not too hard to escape from either. Mirrors. I was scared of mirrors. Now, not much. Kissing, easiest thing ever. The inevitability of death. Quite looking forward to the break tbh. Drug dealers. Kissing. Relationships. Wait, no, I'm still terrified. Driving a manual transmission. I was very freaked out by mascara wands and spiral staircases when I was little. Under the bed monsters. Now that I am grown up, I know that a lot of boxes put under the bed means there is no room for them. My parents told me that these monsters only ate adults. It scarred me. Paying rent. It's seriously not hard to set up an e-transfer. Due to way too much unsupervised TV watching, and the fact that in the 70s, since there weren't VCRs, full-length movies were on TV a lot, I ended up watching a lot of movies with cannibals and headhunters in them. I was terrified of cannibals. I even kept an anti-cannibal survival kit next to my bed. It consisted of a jar of marbles that I'd throw on the floor to make them fall, plus a broken hockey stick weapon, and I made bolos with toy car wheels and string. I also made a bomb, which was a Coke can with a piece of yarn taped to the top of it. I had no idea how bombs worked. You just light a fuse on some red cylindrical thing, I figured. I asked my dad if cannibals can reach us because they have canoes. My dad figured that, living in the suburbs of Toronto, a cannibal attack was unlikely, even if they managed to paddle their canoes up across the Atlantic, and possibly even the Pacific first, then up the St. Lawrence River and then portage to our house. And heck, even if they did, I had a jar of marbles waiting for them. Turns out cannibals and headhunters are not on the top of the list of things I now worry about as an adult. Though I keep a jar of marbles near my bed, just in case. I was terrified of weddings. I would always think there's no way I'll be able to kiss a girl in front of that many people. I was hoping somebody was going to say job hunting, because that's what I'm doing right now and it makes me miserable, and I was hoping someone could tell me it's not so bad. Unfortunately, it seems like it makes everyone miserable, and it is, in fact, so bad. College, if that counts. Busy as all hell, but not scary. All those memes about how terrifying it is making your own doctor appointments seem really overblown. It's basically just asking if you can come in on a chosen day. Buying a house. Taking out a loan. Turns out there are a lot of people to help you do these things so they can make money. Who knew? Sex. I couldn't imagine how having a body part where piss comes out in me, being something nice. I remember feeling sorry for my future self, lol. Taxes, but maybe I'm just weirdly good at taxes. It's always a pretty simple and quick process each year, even when juggling multiple states and self-employment shenanigans. Weed? Definitely marijuana. Choosing between using deodorant or an antiperspirant. I was a child of the late 50s/early 60s and the combination antiperspirant/deodorant had yet to be invented. Instead you had to make difficult life choice between one or the other. The big antiperspirant commercial featured a woman broken down in tears at the dry cleaners because her new and expensive dress was ruined. But I use a deodorant, she sobbed. The dead serious cleaner told her there was no hope. The dress was ruined and she should have used an antiperspirant. But the other commercials showed a whole class of people being shunned. Outcasts from society. Nobody would tell them why. But it was because they used an antiperspirant when what they really needed was a deodorant. But it got worse. I couldn't be just any deodorant. It had to be roll-on. No, not just any roll-on, a wide one. No, it didn't. It had to be in spray because roll-ons were wet and sticky. So many choices. All of them wrong. The commercials were designed to scare the hell out of adults, so to a kid they were even worse. Fortunately, by the time I hit puberty, I guess the new improved products all worked pretty well. Or maybe, just maybe, advertisers lie to us. Driving with the lights on. Speaking to adults. Staying home alone. Swallowing pills. This might sound stupid, but I was terrified of growing up and having to call strangers on the phone to make appointments or take care of other business. My mom suffered from severe anxiety and had to work her courage up for hours before making phone calls, and the fear obviously rubbed off on me. Now I talk on the phone all day at work and don't even think about it anymore. Drug dealers. Marijuana. Honestly, alcohol screwed me way more. It blew my mind how adults could flick the blinkers while driving. I was so scared I would crash while trying to do that. Going to work every day. I have a relatively short attention span, and going to school every day was a struggle, especially when you got punished for being late. Doing the same thing for 30+ years seemed impossible. However, I've been at the same job for 5 years and I've never called out. Between making personal advancements, enjoying time with co-workers, or just being able to successfully do your job, I definitely don't mind working when I'm treated like a responsible/capable human being. Ordering pizza myself. Granted, as a kid you actually had to call them, so maybe it was just my still existing irrational fear of taking on the phone. Driving. Quicksand. For some reason I thought I would have to deal with it way more as an adult than I actually do. College. I was constantly told in high school that college was way more difficult. It isn't. You get to set your own schedule and study what you're passionate about. Also, most professors don't give a shit whether you show up to class, and the amount of schoolwork you deal with is much less. Driving on the interstate. I've been driving for almost 2 years, I'm 17, and wouldn't go near it for the whole first year because of subs like r/idiots in cars and general Florida experience, but now it's like nothing to me. Alcohol or drugs helps a lot now, lol. Dogs. My family has a history of mishandling dogs, which leads to aggressive and/or annoying behavior, and I grew up with a lot of bad dogs. I was scared to death of all of my grandparents' dogs, most of which were huge. However, as I grew up I started to lose that fear, like everyone else does, I suppose, and got really interested in animal anatomy and behavior. I was 15 by the time Jurassic World came out, and it made me discover a passion for animal training. Now I have an 80-ish pound dog that's almost flawlessly obedient. She went for a walk without her leash for the first time today and she totally nailed it. I'm really proud of both of us. Watching the president get impeached. Good nutrition. My dad dying. Root canal. Applying to colleges wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. Common App makes it a whole lot easier. It's all still just as terrifying in my opinion. Driving. Doctors. Kids. Presenting to large groups. Everything, man. I was afraid to wear short-sleeved shirts and shorts when I was really young. For some reason having my arms and legs not covered embarrassed me despite only being 6 years old and having no real reason for that. I've always wondered what made me like that, but who knows. Kids are fucking stupid. Taxes. I don't have any property or anything, so it's super easy. You literally just copy everything over from your W-2s and boom, the government owes you money. I paid to have someone do it for me once, and that was honestly just a huge waste of money. Being home alone. Even into high school an empty house weirded me out. Now a day spent home alone is a good day. Going to the store alone. Now as an adult with a child, I cherish those precious couple of hours I get to myself. LOL. Sex, LOL. PSAs. I used to be scared of them, I don't know why. But now I'm perfectly contained when I watch them. Pulling into and out of a garage or any tight space. I used to think it looked impossible and I was terrified to do it. Now it's almost second nature. Jump scares as well as movies using that trope where tension and suspense is built and suddenly released. Survival horror FPS put an end to that. Bonked my head as a kid too many times to remember what I was scared of. Getting blood drawn. I once unnerved a phlebotomist because I was watching intently. One word, tampons. Being home alone. Going online. The creepy crawly / automatic pool cleaner. A vaccine. The vacuum cleaner. A flat tire. The only encounters were via Firestone tire blowouts, so I was always afraid of losing control of my car. As I got older, realized that most just go flat on their own without exploding, and can be easily handled as needed. I still get anxiety sometimes though. University. Death. Gay. Anyone say driving? I always thought it was scary as hell growing up. High school. As a kid my older brother was very into WWE wrestling, and instilling deep fear into his little sister. I dreaded high school because I was afraid of seeing fights every day. Violence scared the shit out of me as a kid. I was terrified to go to high school cause I thought I would have to watch people beat each other up constantly. Wasn't as bad as I thought. Saw a lot of fights but it ended up mostly being funny. Ended up in more than a handful myself if I'm being completely honest, haha. Edit. Didn't wanna seem trashy. All my fights were from defending myself. I went to school with a lot of crazies. There was a freeway exit ramp that I hated taking as a passenger and I never thought I would be brave enough to drive it. Turns out it is not big deal and way less scary when you are driving it. Anal. If you're forced to have it as a kid, you'll hate it as an adult. Stick shift. How do I know when to shift? What if I get lost in the shift gate? Example, where is third gear? Spiders. Used to freak out anytime I saw one, and the indoor ones still creep me out, but some of those garden ones actually just sit there and eat things that would otherwise ruin your plants, only biting you when they feel they absolutely have to. Sex. Aurora borealis. If it's lighting up the whole sky, it doesn't mean you'll turn into Deadpool in seconds minus the healing factor. Hanging out in the basement. Apparently quicksand is not as big of a deal as cartoons would have me to believe. Vaginas look super scary. Now I want them all like some Vahinga dragon. Driving. I remember having nightmares of me driving. Everything that the adults told me was dangerous: gay people, atheists, communists, Satanists, having sex outside of wedlock, and many other things. Gay people are just people. An atheist has a reason for their belief, just as religious people do. Communism is a very interesting economics idea that criticizes capitalism. Satanists don't worship anyone, they want a human to be human. Sex outside of wedlock should be explored if you don't want any funny surprise during your wedding night that might result in humiliation for both sides the next morning. Funnily, I grew up to be a pro-LGBTQ+, non-religious, and a rather leftist in economic thought. Also, I am glad that I had extramarital sex, because turn out I have a condition that might make my future husband annul the marriage the morning after. My bus driver in grade school. He was this older, tall, stern-looking man with a buzz cut. His only communication with the kids was to yell, "Sit down and shut up." As an adult I got to know him better. Super cool guy, and you couldn't ask for a better person to know.